Welcome, everybody. We're so excited that you have chosen to spend the next hour talking about impact reporting. Certainly a topic we care a lot about. And I think it must be in a lot of folks' minds because we had a tremendous outpouring with over 100 people registered for this session. So we want to make sure that everybody is able to join us. So we're going to give it another minute or so to make sure people are rolling in and joining the live session. Elisa can keep us kind of posted on when we should get going with introductions and kick off the conversation.
I think we could go ahead and start introductions.
All right. So many of you may know us. Elisa, Russ, and I are the three co-founders of Unit of Impact. And but for some of you who are new to our community, new to us, we'd love to meet you and get to know you. And what better way to start than introducing ourselves? So I'll start and then pass it along to my two partners in crime here. I'm Polina. I'm the founder and creative director of RoundPeg, which is a marketing design consultancy based in Silver Spring, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. We're about 20 years old this year, actually, and have been working in a social impact space for about a dozen years or more with for-profit and nonprofit organizations and advocacy campaigns, branding, behavior change, all of those things. And as well as doing a number of impact reports for our clients over the years, which is how I met Russ and how together we had come up with this idea. But before I dive into a little bit of a background and the origin story, I want to make sure you know who my co-founders are. So I'm going to pass it along to Elisa and Russ to introduce themselves.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and say hi. I am Elisa Herr, and I am the founder and CEO of Unity Web Agency. Our specialization is creating inclusive and accessible websites. I joined Polina and Russ as a tech partner for Unit of Impact. And so I'm excited to be a co-founder and CTO of this awesome platform that we've put together for you all and hope to share with you today. So Russ, it's off to you.
Howdy, I'm Russ Stoddard. I'm a founder and president of Oliver Russell. We're a strategic brand consultancy here in Boise, Idaho. I've got decades of experience in the impact space and a long-standing within the B Corp and the public benefit community as well. And it's pretty much my driving purpose in life is how to help others, whether that's as an individual or as a business person. So thanks for joining us today.
Right.
Go ahead and start sharing my screen for Polina to get us kicked off with a bit of background on Unit of Impact.
Yes, so welcome again to everybody who's joined us today to talk about impact reporting and how to create better impact reports. This all started for us during the pandemic. Unit of Impact is one of the pandemic babies that the three of us had. In March of 2020, when everything came to a halt, Russ and I were having a conversation. And one of the things we were talking about then is our own impact reporting. So Oliver Russell and RoundPeg, two of our companies, are public benefit corporations and required by law to file an impact report. For both of us, that impact report was due on April 30th. And because we had a little bit more time in our hands that year, as everything came to a kind of a standstill on client work, we were talking about maybe doing a little more with our impact reports and realized that we ourselves would, struggling with getting it done. It was a hectic year prior. None of the information was at our fingertips. I was having a really hard time remembering what kind of, organizations we supported, where we had volunteered. I was way behind in our environmental metrics. anyway, it just was clear to me that even though professionally we were creating impact reports for our clients, ourselves, we were really struggling. I had asked Russ at the time what was his experience like, and found out that, it wasn't easy for them either. And we wondered, is it just us? Or are there other small businesses who are having a hard time keeping track of their metrics, figuring out how to, use the spreadsheets in the best way possible, and then how to take that information and repurpose it into an impact report, and then how to use that impact report to its maximum capacity? Is it, how to market that impact report? So we decided to create a survey and ask. We've all tapped heavily into our network, and we're able to get close to 300 companies participate in the survey. And the results were astounding. We realized there was a business opportunity because clearly many folks were having the same issue we were having. And we had an advantage because we were both running agencies that specialized in this service. So for other companies who were, in the food space, in professional services space, other types of businesses who don't have kind of agency experience in-house, the hurdles were even larger. So Unit of Impact was born. Very quickly, Russ and I realized that we didn't have the technical expertise needed to build a tech tool. And we invited Elisa to join the team, and much to our pleasure, she said yes. And we were off to the races. 2 years later, we finally were able to launch the platform to the public. It launched this September. And now we want to make sure as many companies are using it as possible and taking advantage of the fact that this impact report season, impact reporting is simplified thanks to Unit of Impact. And our three businesses are using it this year to create our own impact reports. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we do have a special promo for everybody on this call, LinkedIn Live, with 15% off any of the annual plans. So I've done my sales pitch, and now I can turn it over to Russ to get the conversation going about best practices of impact reporting.
Okay, so here we go. We'll kick it off with a quote, and this is from Tamara Bergkamp. She's a sustainability consultant in the Netherlands. Before launching her own business, she worked as a senior manager for the Global Reporting Initiative, the GRI, so she definitely knows her stuff. And what I really like about this quote is that it centers impact reporting as being a strategic tool and not just an informational dissemination exercise. So she says people starting this journey should be aware that the reporting process is much more than preparing information for readers. It is a key source for sustainable business management, identifying, measuring, and defining goals and actions taken. So let's start there, which is to say that what we're doing is sustainable business management. Next. Okay, impact is a year-round business. I'm going to take us back to college days. Has anybody ever had that dream where you all of a sudden realize that you're in finals and you haven't attended class all semester long? Well, occasionally, I'm 60, I'm 60 something. I still have that damn dream. And what I'm trying to do is create something here that keeps you from having that same sort of a dream around your impact report. I don't want anyone to have to wake up all of a sudden and go like, okay, we just completed 2022 and now, holy crap, where's all my impact data? So what you really need to do is have a system in place. That's probably the most important thing. Impact happens every day, the creation of it and the measurement of it. While you might not be able to do it every day, it should be on a consistent, frequent basis. So you need to set goals. You need to figure out what you're going to measure to support those goals. You need to track progress along the way so that you can achieve those goals. And then you need to be able to communicate it to your many, many stakeholders for maximum effect. Okay, what can we measure? There are some key categories that we suggest you use in measuring them. And surprise, surprise, we've actually created a platform to help you do that. And my co-founder and CTO, Elisa, is going to give you a very brief demo on how we do that.
Yeah, so these buckets here that you'll see if you're a B Corp, you might recognize some of the framework that we're using. I will say that the B Impact Assessment, the BIA, drills much deeper than what we have here, but we used it as a framework to determine really what measurables companies should be tracking. So we've got governance, community, people, environment. Measuring is really the first step of the process. And I did want to switch over a little bit from the slides to actually a dashboard for the company. So I want to say it's really important that you start somewhere. If you have all of this data, great. If not, just putting in one thing, maybe your company is volunteering and you can start tracking your volunteer hours. We want to make it so that it's really flexible for companies to be able to track what impacts you do have and see other options for things that you could start measuring in the future. And just build on from there as you go. So it's also important to make the distinction between what you want to measure and what you want to share. And so this platform, we've really built so that the tracking and the reporting components are separate from each other. You don't have to have metrics in Unit of Impact to be able to create an impact report. And this dashboard that I'm showing you here is private and only visible to you when you're logged into your account. So there are metrics that are really important for your business operations and are worth tracking, but you might not want to report those in an impact report. And so this tool is really good for both of those two options.
I think we also maybe give you guys a chance to, as you to comment or ask questions throughout the presentation as we are sharing various information. So feel free to put, if you have questions about the dashboard, any of the metrics mentioned so far, and we can address them at the end when we wrap up.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we want to share with you a couple of best practices that we've learned in our career working on impact reports, and certainly in the last 2 years when we've done a deep dive on this topic and have looked at hundreds of impact reports, read many of them, looked at what are some of the best ones have in common, and where are some of the things where people fall short. So just a few, I think we have 5 slides on this, just a few things to kind of keep in mind as you're starting to think about building your impact report for this year or last year. It's the most important thing. I can't say that enough. Elisa, next slide. The number one thing, it trumps everything. It's the number one thing. It's know who your audiences are. So please don't try to tell us everything. I think we've all seen impact reports that are 30, 40 pages long, that have incredible amount of information. They're very dense. They're very tightly, spaced. They're columns and columns of text. It's hard to get through them. And as someone who's worked on impact reports for many years, my heart goes out to all the people and the team who worked so hard to write all that, copy, design those pages, figured out all the data points and put all the charts and graphs together. And unfortunately, often, due to our limited attention spans,